Paul Castor is a name that appears often in the literature of chiropractic history. Castor, a magnetic healer in Iowa, is credited with teaching D.D. Palmer his craft. Palmer practiced magnetic healing before discovering chiropractic in 1895. But what do we know of Paul Castor and his method? And can it still be said that Castor was a significant influence on the founder of chiropractic? Iowa, 1871. The Ottumwa Democrat announced the construction of a 3-story building to accommodate the patients of Paul Castor. Castor was sometimes referred to as a faith healer, a rubbing doctor, and a magnetic healer. Despite his mysterious abilities to cure patients of disease, Castor was praised for his benevolence to humanity and the income brought into the city by patients. Castor was aware of the public's uncertainty of a healer who used no drugs or medicine. In the Ottumwa papers, he invited the public to his infirmary to investigate for themselves his natural gift of healing. Castor also published his own newsletters that included pages of patient testimonials. His method consisted of laying on of the hands and rubbing, similar to today's massage and energy healing. The source of his miraculous abilities was a mystery to himself. He claimed during his childhood a good spirit had told him of his gift and that he should use it to heal the sick. He said he possessed this power 3 weeks after each new moon, where upon the 4th week he required rest. Because this was a natural ability, he claimed his method could not be taught. One had to be born with the gift. Although he was offered thousands of dollars to teach his craft, he claimed he taught no one. Patients and newspaper reporters witnessed some of Castor's other mysterious abilities. He was said to be able to diagnose patients without first knowing of their afflictions. It was also stated he was able to physically move objects, such as tables, by the use of only his mind. Castor's success and fame seemed to increase by the year. He died in April of 1881. In 1950, B.J. Palmer wrote his father, D.D. Palmer, learned magnetic healing from Paul Castor. B.J. wrote of memories visiting Castor's office in Burlington, Iowa, and seeing displays of crutches left by patients who no longer needed them. However, this is an impossibility due to the fact that Castor died in 1881, before B.J. was born. It is more likely that B.J. and his father visited the office of Castor's son, Jacob Sylvester Castor, in Burlington. J.S. Castor discovered his own gift of healing and began his practice in 1890. D.D. Palmer practiced magnetic healing in Burlington before this, but experienced legal trouble and left for Davenport in 1888. Jacob also experienced legal trouble, but found favor of his city by his cures. He would become the mayor of Burlington, making it even more plausible that Palmer would know him. J.S. Castor demonstrated many similarities of his father's practices. He too claimed his magnetic healing could not be taught. His abilities were also affected by the cycles of the moon. Castor's infirmary, like his father's, displayed a large collection of discarded crutches from patients. He too published his own newsletter with testimonials. D.D. Palmer also displayed crutches of his patients and published his own broadside newsletter. Both practices may have been influenced by the Castors, but is not enough evidence to prove that Palmer was taught by them. With these new insights, there appears to be more evidence that disputes the claim that the Castors taught D.D. Palmer magnetic healing. Both Castors claimed they could not teach magnetic healing and had taught no one. The Castors' magnetic healing was affected by the cycles of the moon, whereas Palmer's was not. B.J. Palmer's history and memory of Paul Castor was incorrect. Castor died before BJ was born, and long before D.D. Palmer lived and practiced in Burlington. He could have no memories of meeting him. Palmer, like Castor, claimed his gift of healing came from the high court of heaven and did not profess to have been taught. It is very likely that D.D. Palmer had known of the famed healer. Castor traveled to Palmer's Muscatine County to demonstrate his abilities in 1873. It is possible that the inquisitive bee farmer and spiritualist was inspired by Castor's fame and abilities to use his own gifts as a healer. It was several years after Castor's death that D.D. Palmer began his practice of magnetic healing in Burlington, Iowa. There is one more connection the Palmers have to the Castors. In 1925, B.J. Palmer and the grandson of Paul Castor organized a protective organization of chiropractors known today as the International Chiropractors Association. Charles Castor, a third-generation magnetic healer, earned a chiropractic degree at the National College of Chiropractic in 1918. Perhaps it can be argued that D.D. Palmer's discovery influenced the Castors. These circumstantial connections between the Castors and the Palmers were simplified in B.J. Palmer's storytelling. Paul Castor may not have the connection to chiropractic that was once believed, but is still a topic worthy of appreciation and study in the history of chiropractic.